Hi everyone, I'm Helen from Susan's family. Today I'm bringing you the Matisse cardigan from Tribute to Art series. It consists of two front pieces, the back body, the sleeves, the main part, edging and buttons. Here, the front and back bodies and sleeves are all made by joining together individual fabric pieces. First, make the front and back bodies and sleeves in order. After completing them, work the main part, edging along the edges of the front and back bodies. Then crochet the border around the main part. Finally, sew on the buttons. In the tutorial, left and right refer to the actual wearing position. The garment comes in two sizes. The making method is the same, only the stitch count and row count in some areas are slightly different. From now on, I'll demonstrate using the larger size as an example. For the smaller size, any differences will be explained separately. Let's start by making the back body. It consists of 4 fabric pieces. Here I'll follow the top down, left to right order, dividing them sequentially into piece 1, piece 2, piece 3, piece 4. First, crochet 4 pieces. After completing them, join the pieces together. First, let's explain piece 1. The starting point is at the center of the piece. It's divided into 2 crochet sections. I'll call one side section 1. The other side is section 2. Start with a chain stitch, then crochet section 1 on one side, then pick up the stitches and crochet section 2 on the other side. Various stitch techniques are used here. The charts will have corresponding markings. I won't go through each example in detail. Now watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. Actually, 2 strands of yarn are needed here. Take 1 strand each, then combine the 2 strands into 1 strand like this for crocheting. For convenience of watching, the tutorial uses 1 strand of cotton yarn for demonstration. In the following tutorial, 1 strand refers to the actual 2 strands. Also, the yarn used here contains gradient yarn. This type of yarn has different, starting color segments. The crocheted effect will also be slightly different. You can refer to the finished product effect, or choose the starting color segment according to your preference. Some of the yarn here has longer fibers. It's not easy to undo during the crocheting process. It's recommended to first learn the method by watching the video. After mastering it, use the original yarn for crocheting. You can also practice with yarn that's easier to undo. For specific yarn, color scheme and hook size, you can refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. Now, let me demonstrate. First, crochet section 1. Start with a foundation chain. Crochet the corresponding number of chain stitches. Once completed, the beginning chain is done. Begin row 1. Make 3 beginning chains. These 3 chains count as 1 double crochet. Next, pick up the 5th chain space from right to left at this moment. Note that the loops on the hook are not included. Start counting from the braid on the left side. Find the corresponding stitch. Pick up the braid of this chain stitch, the top strand. Make 1 double crochet. Continue picking up the top strand of the chain stitches afterward. Work double crochets evenly into each stitch. Keep crocheting until there are 2 chain stitches left. Reach the corresponding position. Work a double crochet decrease downward. Yarn over the hook once. Insert the hook into the left chain stitch, and pick up one strand. Yarn over and draw through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. 2 loops remain. That's an incomplete double crochet. Next, pick up the top strand of the chain stitch to the left. Work an incomplete double crochet. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through in once. Complete the double crochet decrease. The first row is now complete. Keep the side with neat stitch texture of this row as the right side of the entire piece. The starting tail of the yarn is on the left side of the fabric. Move on to the second row, make 1 beginning chain to start. This is the turning chain for single crochet, it doesn't count as 1 stitch. Then turn the work. Crochet this row on the wrong side. Skip the edge stitch below. That is the decreased stitch. When crocheting the previous row on the wrong side, the stitch is located at the upper left. Skip this stitch. Pick up the second stitch on the left side. Make 1 single crochet correspondingly. Continue picking up stitches afterward. Work 1 single crochet into each stitch. When you reach the starting chain position of the previous row, pick up the top chain stitch here, which is the chain stitch next to the stitch at this moment. Pick up the 2 strands of the chain stitch near the edge. Insert the hook and make 1 single crochet. Row 2 is complete. Crochet row 3 downward. The stitch pattern is the same as row 1, only the insertion point is slightly different. Continue with the previous yarn tail. Make 3 beginning chains. This counts as 1 double crochet, and it corresponds to the edge stitch below. Turn the work over. Skip the stitch that corresponds to the beginning chain, which is this edge stitch. Slip the next stitch. Work 1 double crochet. Then pick up stitches 1 by 1 afterward. Work double crochets into each stitch correspondingly. Continue until there are 2 stitches left. At the corresponding position, work a double crochet decrease. Pick up the stitch and make 2 incomplete double crochets. 1, 2. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the double crochet decrease. Meanwhile, the third row is done. Continue to crochet the fourth row. The stitch pattern is the same as the second row, only some stitches are slightly different. Make 1 beginning chain to start. This doesn't count as 1 stitch. Turn the work. Pick up 1 stitch on the edge. Work 1 single crochet. Continue picking up stitches afterward. Work single crochets into each stitch correspondingly. When encountering a double crochet turning chain, pick up the 2 strands on the edge of the top chain stitch, insert the hook and work 1 single crochet. Complete the 4th row. For rows 5-10 afterward, repeat the method of the first 2 rows. Crochet 1 row of double crochets, 1 row of single crochets. Some rows require decreasing on one side. Pay attention that after completing the double crochet turning chain, skip 1 corresponding stitch underneath without working it. Start crocheting from the adjacent stitch. When encountering stitch techniques on the double crochet turning chain, pick up the 2 strands of the top chain stitch to insert the hook. Refer to the chart for guidance. Combine with the previous demonstration. Complete crocheting these rows. After finishing, refer to the chart to check the dimensions. If the dimensions differ significantly, adjust your tension or switch to a different hook size to recrochet. Complete crocheting row 11. Here I'll use this swatch for demonstration. Need to extend at the beginning. Need to cut off the previous yarn tail now. First work 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a little yarn tail. Fasten off the yarn. Pull tight. Leave the yarn tail unprocessed for now. Then pick up the yarn again. Chain cast on. Work 2 chain stitches. Then pick up the fabric. Position the wrong side of row 10, facing you. Locate the last stitch. Work DC3 in 1 here. Yarn over once. Insert the hook into the corresponding stitch. Place the yarn tail above the hook at this point. Crochet while weaving it in. Yarn over and pull through. Continue to complete this double crochet. Pay attention not to twist the chain. Work 2 more stitches. This completes the DC3 in 1. Continue picking up stitches afterward. Work double crochets correspondingly into each stitch. Continue weaving in the ends. Note that the ending requires a double crochet decrease. Complete the final decrease. Row 11 is done. Continue with row 12. First refer to the chart. Crochet up to the previous row. Before the chain position. Reach the corresponding position. Pick up the top loop of the chain below. Work 1 single crochet. Continue picking up the top loop of the adjacent chain. Work 1 single crochet. Row 12 is done. The following row 13 doesn't introduce new stitch techniques. Just follow the chart to complete this row. After finishing, crochet row 14. This row ends with a single crochet decrease. First crochet up to the position before the single crochet decrease at the end. My swatch has reached the corresponding position here. Pick up the stitch below to make an incomplete single crochet. Insert, yarn over and pull through. There are 2 loops on your hook. This is an incomplete single crochet. Next, hook into the top of the beginning chain to make an incomplete single crochet. Now there are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the single crochet decrease. Row 14 is done. For larger sizes, rows 15-34. Don't introduce new stitch techniques. Just follow the chart to complete these rows. Pay attention, some rows end by inserting the hook into the turning chain of double crochet, some rows end by inserting the hook into the edge stitches. Make sure not to make mistakes. After completion, the stitch patterns differ slightly between sizes. I'll still demonstrate using the larger size as an example. Smaller size can be learned first, then refer to the corresponding chart for crocheting. Now let's explain row 35 method. I'll continue demonstrating with this swatch. The starting position for this row has changed. You'll need to join new yarn and crochet again. Cut the yarn from the end of the previous row. Then turn the wrong side of the previous row toward you. Refer to the chart to find the position corresponding to the joining symbol. My swatch stitch count shouldn't be used as reference. Check the chart specifically. Check the chart specifically. Insert into the corresponding stitch. Pick up the yarn again. Loop it onto the crochet hook. Pull through. Adjust slightly. Then work 3 chain stitches. Skip 2 single crochets to the left below. Slip 1 stitch and make 1 single crochet. Continue with 1 single crochet in the adjacent stitch. Work 2 half double crochets afterward. Work double crochets correspondingly in the remaining stitches. End with a double crochet decrease. Complete the last stitch. The method for row 35 is now explained. Move on to row 36. First refer to the chart and crochet up to the position before the slip stitch technique. Finish the last single crochet. Continue with 1 chain stitch. Skip 1 stitch below. Reach the position of the slip stitch technique downward. Pick up the corresponding stitch. Insert the hook and work 1 slip stitch. Leave the remaining unworked. The method for row 36 is now explained. Continue to row 37. The starting position has changed here, but it's close to the yarn tail position. To reduce breaking the yarn, we can use the carrying yarn technique. Then pull the fabric or yarn ball through from the inside. Slightly tighten the yarn. Then turn the work. Look left at the chart for the carrying yarn arrow indicator. Insert the hook into the corresponding stitch. Now pull the yarn over. Yarn over and pull through. Here the pulled yarn aligns with the fabric edge. This is the carrying yarn technique. Continue crocheting downward. First work 3 chain stitches. Skip 1 stitch to the left. Slip 1 stitch and make 1 double crochet. Continue making double crochets afterward. At the end, work a double crochet decrease. Complete the last stitch. The method for row 37 has been explained. For rows 38-40 afterward, refer to the chart and crochet directly. After completing, crochet row 41, first chain 2 as beginning chain. These 2 chains count as 1/2 double crochet, and correspond to 1 stitch below. Turn the work. Starting from the second stitch on the left. Work half double crochets evenly. Continue until 2 stitches remain. At the corresponding position, work a half double crochet decrease downward, yarn over, insert into the left stitch, yarn over and pull through. There are 3 loops on the hook. This is an incomplete half double crochet. Continue with an adjacent incomplete half double crochet. Now there are 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the half double crochet decrease. The method for row 41 is now finished. Cut the yarn. Weave the yarn tail into the wrong side of the fabric. You can weave in a few more stitches. Weave in the remaining yarn tails into the back using the same method. Complete this part on your own. That concludes the explanation for section 1. Next, we'll explain section 2. I'll continue demonstrating with a swatch. Position section 1 with the right side facing you. Place the cast on edge at the top. Locate the right edge. Here, half of the starting chain remains. Pick up these 2 strands. This is also the insertion point on the finish side. For the following steps, pick up these positions to crochet. Insert the hook into the edge chain stitches to join the yarn. Place the yarn tail above. Make 3 beginning chains as the turning chain. Pick up the left side chain stitches, and make 1 double crochet. Continue picking up half of the chain stitches on the edge. Work double crochets evenly into each stitch. When you reach the beginning chains on this side, pick up the 2 strands on the left edge of the chain stitches. Insert the hook and make a double crochet. This completes the first row. For rows 2 through 10, alternate between single crochet and double crochet rows. Pay attention to decreasing stitches at certain positions. On row 11, extend one side at the ending. Next, I'll demonstrate how to extend row 11. I'll continue using this swatch for the demonstration. First, follow the pattern chart to crochet up to the DC3 in 1 position. I've now reached the corresponding position. Crochet 2 chains to extend. This completes row 11. Move on to row 12. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Turn the work. Then pick up the second chain on the left side. Here the wrong side of the chains is facing you. Look for these raised horizontal bars above the adjacent horizontal bar. Pick up the top strand to insert the hook. Work 1 single crochet. For the adjacent chain, continue to pick up the top strand and work single crochets. Complete the remaining picked up stitches. Continue with the remaining part. No new stitch techniques or methods are used. Just follow the chart for crocheting. Finish crocheting, cut the yarn and weave in the ends. This completes the explanation for section 2. At the same time, the entire fabric piece 1 is completed. Next, we'll explain fabric piece 2. It's triangular in shape. Start with a foundation chain, then work back and forth along one side of the starting chain. During this process, alternate between 2 yarns. For easier explanation, I'll refer to the starting yarn as color 1. The other yarn is color 2. The new stitch technique used here is front post double crochet. Watch my demonstration. First, start with color 1 and work row 1. I've completed it here. Again, I'm using cotton yarn for demonstration. Once completed, the side with neat stitch texture of row 1 will be the right side of the entire piece. Work row 2 downward. Make 3 beginning chains. Then turn the work. Pick up the second stitch to the left. Work 1 double crochet. Continue picking up stitches and working double crochets downward. Keep crocheting until there's 1 stitch left before the magenta stitches in the chart. For larger sizes, work 4 stitches. For smaller sizes, work 1 stitch. I'll still use the larger size as an example. When you reach the corresponding position, the second stitch from here needs to be worked with color 2. So the adjacent stitch requires a color change. Work an incomplete double crochet here to change colors. Pick up color 2. Leave a long yarn tail. Hang the yarn with your left hand. Place the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric, which is the side facing you at this moment. Then yarn over and draw through both loops on the hook. Completed the double crochet, and completed the color change. The chart below shows the front post double crochet symbol. Since the chart reflects the right side of the fabric, you need to work the opposite stitch on the wrong side. Work a back post double crochet, and switch to color 1 for the next stitch. You need to change colors when working the back post double crochet here. Yarn over the hook once. Skip 1 stitch to the left. Slip the next stitch from behind. Insert into the gap on the right side from back to front. Then insert into the gap on the left side. Picked up the corresponding stitch from behind. Then yarn over and draw the yarn through. Pull up to about the same height as this row. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. 2 loops remain. This is an incomplete back post double crochet. At this point, place color 2 in front. Pick up color 1. Yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. This completes the back post double crochet, and completes the color change. Let's flip to the right side to check the texture. The right side of the fabric shows the texture of front post double crochet. Pick up downward. The stitch picked up by the chain. Work double crochets and change colors. First work an incomplete double crochet. Weave in ends. You can place it above. Wrap it above while crocheting. Then place color 1 in front. Pick up color 2. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the double crochet and the color change. Next, pick up the same insertion point of the chain. Work a back post double crochet and change colors. First, work an incomplete back post double crochet. Yarn over below the previous chain before the back. Pick up the corresponding stitch. Then yarn over and pull through. Pull up to the height of this row. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. 2 loops remain. The dropped yarn is always kept on the wrong side of the fabric. This row is all placed in front. Left hand hangs color 1. Yarn over and pull through. Complete the back post double crochet. Also complete the color change. Next, work with color 1. Skip 1 stitch to the left. Starting from the next stitch, pick up stitches, and work 4 double crochets correspondingly. Color 2 will be needed later here. Weave in ends while crocheting following the method. After completion, work 1 double crochet downward, and switch to color 2. All color changes here are done with incomplete stitches. Pick up color 2. Pay attention to pull the yarn flat before changing colors. Keep the fabric flat at the same time. After completion, skip 1 stitch to the left. Pick up the next stitch and work a back post double crochet, then switch to color 1. Pick up the stitch picked up by the chain. Work 1 double crochet and switch to color 2. After completion, pick up the insertion point of the chain stitch. Work a back post double crochet and switch to color 1. All subsequent color changes happen on the last stitch of the current color. Work an incomplete stitch to change colors. After completion, skip 1 stitch downward. Then pick up stitches, and work 5 double crochets correspondingly. On the 5th stitch, switch to color 2. While crocheting, carry color 2 along the edge. After completion, skip 1 stitch. Work a back post double crochet with color 2 and switch to color 1. Then work 1 double crochet and switch to color 2. Next work 1 back post double crochet and switch to color 1. For the remaining part of this row, color changes are done this way. Please refer to the previous steps, combine with the chart, continue crocheting downward, complete the last back post double crochet here. Color 2 won't be used for the rest of this row. You can stop carrying the yarn, place it back in position. At this point in my swatch, I've reached the last color 2 position. From here on, only use color 1 for crocheting. Finish the last stitch. The second row is now complete. Crochet the third row downward. Chain 3 as beginning chains. Turn the work. Crochet this row on the right side. Simply follow the stitch pattern shown in the chart. Continue crocheting according to the diagram until before the magenta stitches. Stop when 1 stitch remains. For larger sizes, crochet 3 stitches downward here. For smaller sizes, the next stitch corresponds to 1 stitch. I'll continue demonstrating using the larger size as an example. First crochet to the corresponding stitch position. Reach the corresponding position, work double crochet, and switch to color 2. Place the switched yarn on the wrong side of the fabric. Now it's behind. Then pick up color 2. Change colors. Next skip 1 stitch to the left. Insert the hook into the chain stitch position. Work front post double crochet and change colors. Yarn over, insert into the gap on the right side of the chain stitch below. Come out through the gap on the left side. Picked up 1 corresponding stitch forward. Then yarn over and draw through. Pull up to about the same height as this row. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. 2 loops remaining. This is an incomplete front post double crochet. Then pick up color 1. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the front post double crochet and change colors. Then work 3 double crochets. Change colors on the 3rd stitch. Carry color 2 while crocheting the edging. Start crocheting by inserting the hook into the stitch below the chain. Pick up the position of the chain stitch below. Crochet a front post double crochet and change colors. First, make an incomplete front post double crochet, yarn over. Pick up the chain stitch in front. Mindful not to pick up other positions. Check the position when inserting the hook. Then yarn over and draw through. Pull up to the same height as this row. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Pick up color 1. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the front post double crochet and change colors. Skip 1 stitch to the left. Crochet 3 double crochets with color 1. Change colors on the 3rd stitch. Carry color 2 while crocheting the edging. Skip 1 stitch after completing. Arrive at the chain position. Crochet the front post double crochet correspondingly and change colors. Then start from the chain stitch. Crochet 3 double crochets to the left. Change colors on the 3rd stitch. Pick up the chain position underneath after completing. Crochet the front post double crochet and change colors. For the following steps, refer to the previous ones. Continue crocheting according to the chart. Similarly, when color 2 is no longer needed later. After completing 1 corresponding stitch, place it back in position. This row is all crocheted on the right side. Then place it behind the fabric piece. Complete the last stitch. The 3rd row is done. Next, crochet the 4th row. The stitch pattern is identical to the 2nd row. Make 3 beginning chains. Turn the work. This row is crocheted on the wrong side. Refer left to the chart and crochet until 1 stitch before the red stitches. At the corresponding position, work a double crochet and switch to color 2. Note this row is crocheted on the wrong side. Place the switched yarn in front at this moment. Then pick up the centered 1 stitch position of 3 color 1 on the left side. Work a back post double crochet and change colors. Then pick up the stitch that was picked up by the chain. Work 1 double crochet and change colors. Then crochet a back post double crochet at the insertion point of the chain and change colors. Continue to refer to the chart for crocheting afterward. When color 2 is not needed, place it on the wrong side of the fabric, in front of the current piece. Complete the last stitch. Row 4 is completed. Continue to crochet row 5. The stitch pattern is identical to row 3. Make 3 beginning chains. Turn the work. This row is crocheted on the right side. Refer to the chart to the left and crochet up to the stitch before the magenta stitches. Then work a double crochet and change colors. Next, pick up the chain position below. Crochet a front post double crochet and change colors. Then starting from the chain stitch, crochet 3 double crochets correspondingly. The third stitch requires a color change. Next, pick up the chain position below and crochet a front post double crochet, then change colors. From now on, refer to the previous steps and the chart to continue crocheting. When color 2 is not in use, place it on the wrong side of the fabric, that is, behind the work piece at this moment. Complete the last stitch. The 5th round is completed. Now you can refer to the chart to check the dimensions. For the remaining rows, except for the last few rows, all are crocheted using 2 colors. When encountering a color change position on the yarn tail side, you can carry the yarn as you crochet, place it above. Bring it to the corresponding position using the weave-in method. From now on, refer to the actual situation. Follow the previous demonstration to crochet accordingly. Color 2 is not used in the last few rows. Place it back in position. Crochet with color 1 only. Complete the remaining parts. Don't cut the yarn after finishing. Let's check the dimensions. Place it below fabric piece 1. Position the cast-on edge of fabric piece 1 at the center. Then place the cast-on edge of fabric piece 2 on the left side. Match the tip to the centered position of fabric piece 1. The dimensions on this side of both fabric pieces are similar. If there's a significant size difference, you need to recrochet. You can compare while crocheting during this process. Cut the yarn after crocheting is finished. Fasten off yarn normally for color 1. Hide the yarn tail to the wrong side. Leave a long tail and fasten off yarn for color 2. To secure it firmly, tie a knot with the adjacent position to secure it. Work 1 chain stitch. This secures it in place. Then hide the remaining yarn tails inside the fabric. Complete this part on your own. The crocheting of piece 2 is now explained. Next, we'll explain piece 3. It's also triangular in shape. Start with a foundation chain, then work back and forth along one side of the starting chain. Simply use the corresponding yarn to crochet here. No color changes are needed during this process. The stitch techniques for the back body have already been demonstrated. Just follow the chart to complete crocheting piece 3. After finishing, compare the dimensions with the structure diagram. You can also check the fit while crocheting. Complete this part on your own. Next, we'll explain piece 4. Here you need to alternate between 2 yarns. Start with a foundation chain. Work back and forth upward. Both sizes use new stitch techniques including DC2 and 1 treble crochet. The smaller size also uses single crochet 3 stitches together. The larger size uses double crochet 3 stitches together. Increases for double crochet and half double crochet. Here I'll use the larger size as an example. First, let's explain the crocheting method. The common stitch techniques and new stitches used only for the larger size. New stitches used only for the smaller size will be explained separately later. I'll still use the larger size as an example. Please watch the demonstration. Here I divide the 2 yarns into color 1 and color 2. Note that these don't correspond to previous color 1 and color color 2, please refer to the color chart for details. Start with color 1 chain cast on. I've already completed the cast on here. Then work 2 chain stitches. Pick up the 5th chain stitch position from right to left. Pick up 1 strand above. Work 1 single crochet. Continue to pick up 1 strand of chain stitch afterward. Work 4 single crochets correspondingly. Three half double crochets. Three double crochets. Work a treble crochet adjacent. Wrap the yarn around the hook twice. Insert the hook. Yarn over and pull through. There are 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. 1 time. 2 times. 3 times. Complete the treble crochet. Continue to pick up the chain stitches later. Crochet 3 double crochets correspondingly. Three half double crochets. Three single crochets. Three half double crochets. Three double crochets. Move on to work a treble crochet. For the remaining part, continue crocheting according to the chart. Finish the last single crochet. Continue with 2 chain stitches. Skip 1 stitch to the left. Reach the chain stitch position at the edge. Work 1 slip stitch correspondingly. The first row is now complete. The next row requires a color change, and the starting position for crocheting with the same color yarn differs later. Then fasten off the yarn. Leave the yarn tail unprocessed for now. Move on to crochet the second row. Turn the wrong side of the previous row toward yourself. Refer to the chart to find the joining yarn position. Insert the hook and join yarn. You can also join yarn on the right side of the first row, then turn the work and crochet. Work 2 chain stitches. Skip 1 stitch to the left. Slip 1 stitch and work a single crochet. Work adjacent half double crochet decrease. Continue to work 1/2 double crochet correspondingly in each stitch. 3 double crochets. Work adjacent double crochet increase. That is, make 2 double crochets in the same stitch. 1 stitch. 2 stitches. Complete double crochet increase. Work 1 double crochet to the left. Then work double crochet increase. For the remaining part, continue to refer to the chart. Finish with a slip stitch. Leave unworked. Row 2 is complete. Similarly, change colors for the next row, and cannot continue with the current yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Now work row 3. With the wrong side facing you from the previous row, then find the joining symbol on the chart. Join the yarn. Then work corresponding stitches to the left following the chart. Complete the last stitch. Leave unworked. Row 3 is complete. Cut the yarn. Work row 4 downward. First join the yarn. Then work to the end. Before the DC3 together position. Reach the corresponding position. Work 3 incomplete double crochets downward. 1, 2, 3. There are 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the DC3 together. Row 4 is also complete. Cut the yarn. Downward I'll use this swatch to explain the remaining new stitch techniques for different sizes separately. First, let's explain the remaining new stitch techniques for the larger size. Increase with double crochet and half double crochet. There are 2 sequences for this stitch, but the crocheting method is the same. That is, work 1/2 double crochet, and 1 double crochet in the same position. Refer to the chart for the stitch sequence here. Now let's explain the remaining new stitch techniques for the smaller size. Single crochet 3 together. I'll continue using this swatch for demonstration. First, crochet up to the position before the SC3 together. Now at the corresponding position, pick up 3 loops on the left side below. Work incomplete single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. Complete the single crochet 3 together. At this point, all new stitch techniques and methods for piece 4 have been explained. Just refer to the chart to complete crocheting piece 4. Also remember to fit well. Cut the yarn after completing. Hide yarn tails on the wrong side of the fabric. The first row with neat texture is the right side of the piece. Try to hide yarn ends at the back position of the current row for better appearance. Complete it on your own. That concludes the crocheting instructions for piece 4. All back body pieces are now completed. Proceed to join the pieces. I'll demonstrate using a swatch. Use stitch markers or yarn tails. Position the pieces according to the diagram. Make sure the right sides are facing outward. Secure the pieces together at several points. We only need to connect these 2 sides. Join with single crochets and 3 chains. Now I'll demonstrate the crocheting method. First, connect this side at the right edge position. Insert hook into the edge gap. When encountering a turning chain, you can pick the corresponding chain stitch on the edge. Insert hook through 2 strands. Join the yarn. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. Then crochet 3 chains as a bridge. Space 3 chains apart for the next stitch. Pick the gaps along the edges of 2 fabric pieces. Pick approximately corresponding positions. Choose more stable positions. Insert hook and work 1 single crochet correspondingly. Crochet 3 chains afterward. Space a similar distance apart. Work 1 single crochet. 3 chains. Then work and join simultaneously using this method. When reaching where several pieces meet, pick the right side of 2 fabric pieces and the bottom fabric piece. Pick corresponding positions to join simultaneously. Continue joining downward after completion. Pick the left side of these 2 fabric pieces to connect correspondingly. The insertion position here is not fixed. Even and neat is sufficient. after connecting the edge positions. Now let's check the effect after completion. The connection positions are flat and even. Cut the yarn when the effect is proper. Weave in the yarn tail to the wrong side. This completes one side. The method for the other side is the same. Attach yarn from the right edge. Then work single crochets and chain 3 to join. When reaching where the fabric pieces meet, you can pick up stitches from previous joining points to connect. Or pick corresponding positions on the fabric pieces to join, as long as the connection looks neat, and the fabric lies flat. Complete the joining on your own. The joining of fabric pieces is now explained, and the entire back body is now completed. Next, we'll explain the right front. Made by joining 2 fabric pieces together. First, crochet 2 fabric pieces, then join the fabric pieces after completion. After that, connect the underarm area to the back body. The top part, similar to the shoulder area, also needs joining. Here I'll explain using fabric piece 1 and fabric piece 2. Let's start with fabric piece 1. Start with a foundation chain. Then work back and forth along the starting chain. The crocheting method is similar to one side of the back body. Some positions need to be extended during the process. Some positions require skipping stitches. One new stitch technique is used. Treble crochet with double crochet increases. This new stitch technique is located at the extended position. When extending, fasten off the yarn from the previous row. Then start a new chain with the corresponding number of chain stitches. Then pick up the last stitch of the previous row. Work 1 treble crochet and 2 double crochets. Complete the treble crochet with double crochet increases. On the next row, when reaching the chain space, insert the hook into one strand of the corresponding chain stitch only. Other positions use stitch techniques and methods already demonstrated before. Please refer directly to the chart. Complete crocheting the fabric piece 1. After completion, work fabric piece 2. The method is identical to the back bodice fabric piece 2, just with slightly different row counts. Simply follow the chart for crocheting. After completing both fabric pieces, first position fabric piece 1 and fabric piece 2, according to the structural diagram, then using the fabric joining technique. Join them with single crochets and 3 chains from right to left. Next, attach the side edge of the last row of fabric piece 1 and the starting edge of fabric piece 2 to the side seam of the back bodice fabric piece 1 to the starting edge of fabric piece 3 below. This is the connection point for front and back bodies. Match the fabric shapes accordingly. Then connect the upper shoulder area, specifically the upward extension edge. While the back body uses the upper extension edge. Match and join them accordingly. All connections use the same stitch technique. Complete this part on your own. That concludes the instructions for the right front piece. Next, we'll cover the left front piece. The method is similar to the right front piece. It's also made by joining 2 fabric pieces. The upper part is fabric piece 1. The lower part is fabric piece 2. Here, fabric piece 1 needs extension in some areas, while skipping stitches in other areas. The direction is exactly opposite to the right front piece's fabric piece 1. No need to cut the yarn when extending. Just continue crocheting the corresponding number of chains with the existing yarn. Start the next row by picking up the chain corresponding to 1 thread for crocheting. No new stitch techniques or methods are introduced here. Just follow the pattern chart for crocheting. After completing fabric piece 1, continue crocheting fabric piece 2. The method is similar to the back bodice fabric piece 3, only the row count varies slightly. Again, simply refer to the chart for crocheting. Once completed, join the 2 fabric pieces together. Then attach the side edge of the last row of fabric piece 1 to the starting edge of fabric piece 2. Join with the corresponding position on the back body. Finally, attach the upward extending edge on this side to the corresponding position on the back body. Complete this part on your own. After joining, a neckline will form at the front. Sleeve holes will remain on both sides. This completes the explanation for the left front piece. Next, make the sleeves. Divide it into left sleeve and right sleeve. Make them separately. Attach to the sleeve holes on the front and back bodies after completion. First, let's explain the left sleeve. Made by joining 3 fabric pieces. The edges also need crocheting for the sleeve cuffs. In order from top to bottom. They are called piece 1, piece 2 and piece 3. First, explain piece 1. The crochet method here is similar to piece 1 of the back body. Starting with a chain stitch at the center. First crochet one side area, then pick up the stitch and crochet the other side area. During crocheting here, no extension is needed, nor skipping stitches, just need to use 2 colors. Alternate crocheting row by row. So cut the yarn after completing each row. When joining yarn, always at the edge of the previous row. Large sizes don't introduce new stitch techniques or methods. Just follow the chart to complete crocheting. For small size, use 2 double crochets and treble crochets together. Let me demonstrate with a swatch. Then match the corresponding position for an incomplete treble crochet. Wrap the yarn twice around the hook. Insert. Yarn over and pull through. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat twice. Once. Twice. This is an incomplete treble crochet. There are 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the double crochet and treble crochet cluster. Then refer to the pattern. Complete crocheting the small size piece 1. Next, let's explain piece 2. The method is similar to piece 1. Starting from the center. First crochet one side, then pick up stitches to crochet the other side. Some positions require increasing stitches during the process. Skip certain positions in the last few rows. Only one type of yarn is used here. Just follow the pattern chart for crocheting. Next, let's explain piece 3. 2 types of yarn are required. Crochet using the method of alternating 2 rows with 1 row. A new stitch technique is used. Bobble stitch with 5 double crochets. Watch my demonstration. I'll refer to the starting yarn as color 1. I'm still using cotton yarn for this demonstration. Start with a foundation chain. Complete row 1 according to the pattern chart. I've already finished it here. The yarn tail won't be needed later. Cut the yarn. The side with neat texture from row 1 is the right side of the whole piece. Crochet row 2 downward. Join the yarn. Chain 1 as beginning chain. Turn to the wrong side of the previous row. Pick up stitches downward. Work single crochets evenly into each stitch. Continue crocheting until before the star position on the chart. Pay attention to weave-in ends while crocheting the edge. Reach the corresponding position. Here the star indicates where to work the pattern. First, make a DC5 bobble stitch. Pick up stitches to the left. Work 5 incomplete double crochets. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Yarn over, the fabric protrudes backward here. Complete the 5 DC bobble stitch. Chain 1. The star stitch pattern is now complete. I'll refer to this as the puff stitch pattern set from now on. Continue picking up stitches downward. Work the corresponding number of single crochets. Keep crocheting until you reach the next puff stitch pattern position. Reach the corresponding position. First work a 5 DC bobble stitch downward. Note the fabric protrudes backward here. Chain 1. Complete the puff stitch pattern. Continue crocheting according to the chart. Finish this row. Note all puff stitches protrude backward. Complete the last stitch. Row 2 is done. The yarn tail will be used after skipping 2 rows. Cut the yarn. Join new yarn downward to crochet row 3. Join the yarn. Chain 3 as beginning chains. Pick up stitches to the left and work double crochets. When reaching the puff stitch pattern position, pick up the stitch of bobble. At this point, the large braid in the upper left. Insert the hook and work 1 double crochet. For single crochet positions, pick up stitches respectively. Work double crochets correspondingly. Arrive at the puff stitch pattern position. Similarly, pick up the corresponding stitch in the upper left and work a double crochet. Continue with this method. Complete this row. Complete the last stitch. Row 3 is completed. The next row still uses this color. Don't cut the yarn. Follow the chart below to complete row 4. After completing row 4, cut the yarn. Then join new yarn to work row 5. Make one beginning chain to start. Work one single crochet correspondingly. Continue crocheting according to the chart until before the puff stitch pattern. Reach the corresponding position. Work 5 double crochets for the puff stitch. The fabric should stand out forward. Use your finger to push the fabric out. Then work one chain stitch. Complete the puff stitch pattern. For the rest of this row, all puff stitches should protrude to the front side. Match the puff stitch texture with the previous one. Continue crocheting this row downward. Complete the last stitch. Row 5 is completed. Cut the yarn. When crocheting row 6 downward, pick up stitches at single crochet positions. Similarly, pick up stitches at puff stitch positions. The large braid at the upper left. Remaining rows. When crocheting the puff stitch pattern on the right side, the puff stitches stand out forward. When crocheting the puff stitch pattern on the wrong side, the puff stitches stand out backward. Ultimately, all puff stitches stand out on the front of the fabric. Continue downward following the chart. Complete the remaining crocheting. This completes piece 3. Then join the 3 pieces together. Similarly, refer to the structural diagram to position correctly first, then along the 2 sides of the piece. Join them one by one. After completing, connect the side seams of the 3 pieces. Join them together. Continue connecting until the edge position of the last row of piece 1. The remaining parts need to be attached to the armholes. Position the unconnected top part of piece 1, corresponding to the armholes of the front and back bodies. Here the center of the starting chain of piece 1. corresponding to the edge where the front and back bodies connect at the shoulders. The lower connection point, corresponding to the lower connection point of the front and back bodies. Then join in this area. The joining method is the same for all. When encountering yarn tails from carrying the yarn across, you can weave them in together. Complete this part on your own. That concludes the explanation for joining the pieces. Finally, let's cover the sleeve cuffs. Crochet in rounds along the cuff position. Using a new stitch technique, reverse single crochet. Watch my demonstration. I'll demonstrate using this swatch. Find the joining position. Insert the hook into the gap on the left side edge. Join the yarn. Make one beginning chain to start. Correspondingly make one single crochet. You can weave in the yarn tails as you crochet. Continue picking up the side edge of the next row to the left. Pick up the edge gaps. Crochet the corresponding number of single crochets. Subsequently pick up the gaps on the side edge of each row. Refer to the chart and crochet the corresponding single crochets. Complete the last row of side edges. Everyone check the stitch count. Then pick up the stitch of the first single crochet. The braid on the upper right. Insert the hook and finish with a slip stitch join. Tighten the slip stitch that connects the beginning and end. This completes the first round. Next, crochet the second round. Make one beginning chain to start. Then work reverse single crochets to the right. Insert into the right side stitch. Yarn over and draw through. There are 2 twisted loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the reverse single crochet. Let me demonstrate again. Insert into the right side stitch. Yarn over and draw through. Yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook in once. Complete the reverse single crochet. Continue working reverse single crochets evenly. Complete the last stitch. On the wrong side of the fabric. Pick up the starting position. Any 2 strands? Join with a slip stitch. You can choose to tighten or not. Cut the yarn. Hide the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. Complete this part on your own. This completes the sleeve cuff. With this, the entire left sleeve crocheting is explained. Next, we'll explain the right sleeve. The method is similar to the left sleeve. It's also made by joining 3 fabric pieces together. Divide in order from top to bottom. Fabric piece 1 and fabric piece 2 use the same crocheting method as the left sleeve, only the yarn is different. Fabric piece 1 doesn't require color changes while crocheting. Fabric piece 2 alternates one color per row. Cut the yarn after completing each row, then join new yarn to continue crocheting. No new stitches or techniques are used for these 2 pieces. Just follow the chart for crocheting. Next, we'll explain fabric piece 3. Requires 2 colors. Alternate crocheting in a pattern of 2 rows and 1 row. uses one new stitch technique. Double crochet 3 stitches crossing with 1 chain stitch interval in the middle. Please watch my demonstration. First make beginning chains. Complete the corresponding stitch count. I've already finished the cast on here. Start crocheting row 1 downward. First make 3 beginning chains as turning chain. Then pick the 5th chain stitch position counting from right to left. Work 1 double crochet. Continue correspondingly making 4 double crochets. Note that I'm using the large size stitch count here. Small size refer to the chart. After completing, crochet 3 chain stitches. Skip 2 stitches underneath without working. Slip stitch into next stitch and work 1 single crochet. 3 chain stitches. Skip 2 stitches underneath. Then work 7 double crochets correspondingly. Everyone continue to follow the chart for crocheting. Complete the last stitch. Row 1 is done. Cut the yarn. Crochet row 2 downward. Join yarn at the end of the previous row. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Turn the work. Make 1 single crochet correspondingly. Then work single crochets correspondingly. Keep crocheting until 3 chains before the position. Reach the corresponding position. Crochet 3 double crochets in the middle crossing stitch with 1 chain space apart. I'll call it crossing stitch for short later. First pick the second chain space on the left side. Work 3 double crochets. Then make 1 chain. Pick the previous chain space. Work 3 double crochets. And weave the completed 3 double crochets into the stitches. Make the stitches slightly loose here. The fabric should lay flat after finishing. This completes the crossing stitch. Starting from the double crochet position to the left, pick up stitches, and work single crochets correspondingly. When encountering chain spaces, crochet crossing stitches correspondingly. First pick the second space and work 3 double crochets. One chain stitch. Then pick the first space and work 3 double crochets, and weave the completed 3 stitches into the fabric. Complete the crossing stitch. For subsequent chain spaces, crochet crossing stitches. For other positions, pick up stitches, and work single crochets. Continue crocheting until 2 stitches remain before the end. At the corresponding position, work single crochet decreases downward. Row 2 completed. Similarly cut the yarn. Then join the yarn and work row 3. First make 3 beginning chains. Pick up stitches to the left and work 1 double crochet. Continue picking up single crochet positions and correspondingly make double crochets. When encountering crossing stitch positions, first work 2 chain stitches. Then pick up the centered chain space. Work 1 single crochet. Then work 2 chain stitches. For subsequent single crochet positions, correspondingly make double crochets. At crossing stitch positions, pick up chain spaces and work single crochets. Work 2 chain stitches on both left and right sides. Please refer to the chart for details. Continue crocheting downward. Complete the last stitch. Row 3 is completed. For row 4, continue using this yarn tail. No need to fasten off the yarn. For remaining rows, please continue following the chart. Cut the yarn and weave in the ends after completing all. Pick up the other side of the stitches and continue crocheting. Complete this part on your own. That concludes the explanation for crocheting piece 3. 3 pieces have been completed. Position them correctly according to the structural diagram. Then join the 3 pieces together. After completion, sew the side edges of the 3 pieces together. Attach the top edge of piece 1 to the armhole positions of the front and back bodies. Complete this part on your own. Finally, pick up the cuff edge and crochet the sleeve edging. Use the same method as for the left sleeve. Refer to the pattern and complete this part on your own. That concludes the explanation for making the right sleeve. Next, work on the main part edging. Divide into front band edging, hem edging, and neckline edging. First, crochet the front band edging. After completion, along the side of the front band and the hem area, crochet the hem edging. Then pick up the front band edge and neckline area to crochet the neckline edging. Let's first demonstrate the front band edging. This part is divided into left and right sides. the crocheting method is the same. However, one side needs to leave buttonholes, while the other side doesn't need buttonholes. Here I'll demonstrate using the left side of the front band edging as an example, and this side needs to leave buttonholes. Here I'll use this swatch for demonstration. Find the right front edge. Pick up the bottom. Insert the hook into the edge stitches to join yarn. Make one beginning chain to start. Work one single crochet correspondingly. Then pick up the starting point of the fabric piece to the left. Work single crochets into each stitch in sequence. Complete the last stitch. Check the stitch count. The first row is now complete. Continue with the second row. Make 2 chains as the beginning chain. Turn the work. Starting from the second stitch downward. Work half double crochets into each stitch in sequence. Complete the last stitch. The second row is complete. Continue with the third row. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Turn the work. Work a single crochet into the edge stitch. Continue with 2 single crochets to the left. Then chain 2. Skip 2 stitches below. Note, this is for the large size. Small size refer to the chart. Pick up the corresponding position and continue crocheting single crochets. Keep crocheting until before the 2 chain position in the diagram. Reach the corresponding position. Chain 2 downward. Skip 2 stitches below. Work a single crochet into the back loop. All chain spaces below in this row are buttonholes. Continue crocheting according to the chart afterward. Complete the last stitch. Row 3 is completed. Then row 4. Repeat the stitch pattern of row 2. Work even with half double crochets. When encountering a chain space, work into the chain space. Continue working back and forth for remaining rows. Refer to the chart, everyone. Complete the remaining crocheting. After completion, break yarn and weave in ends. This completes the edging for one side of the front band. For the other side front band edging, join yarn at the top edge of the left front. Then work back and forth crocheting. Complete this part on your own. No need to break yarn after finishing here. Continue crocheting the hem edging next. This completes the front band edging explanation. Now moving on to explain the hem edging. Pick up the yarn tail from the front band edging. Work down along the side edge of the front band edging. Crochet along the bottom edges of front and back bodies. When encountering a side edge row here, insert hook into the gaps of the side edge. Refer to the chart for the corresponding number of single crochets. When encountering chain positions, pick up the remaining half side for insertion. There's no fixed requirement for insertion points here. Just work the required stitch count within the designated area. The fabric should lay flat and look neat after completion. Follow the pattern chart. Complete the hem edging. Cut the yarn and weave in the ends when done. This completes the hem edging explanation. Next, we'll explain the neckline edging. The crocheting method is identical to the front band edging, only the insertion points differ slightly. Start joining yarn at the first stitch, on the left side edge of the front band. Then pick up the side edges. When encountering a row edge, pick up the gaps in the edge. For chain stitches, pick up the remaining half side of the chain. Similarly, insertion points aren't fixed. Just work the required stitch count within the designated area. Continue crocheting until reaching the first stitch position on the right side front band edging. Then work back and forth in rows along the first row area. No new stitch techniques or methods appear. Complete it on your own. Finish crocheting, break the yarn and weave in the ends. That concludes the neckline edging explanation. Finally, sew on the buttons. Overlap the two front bands with one above the other. The side with buttonholes should be on top. Match the neckline edging. Then find the button attachment position by following down from the buttonhole. Use the edging yarn to sew on the buttons. No specific method required. Just make it securely. Complete it on your own. After sewing, fasten into the buttonholes. That concludes the button attachment explanation. Up to this point, the entire garment assembly is now complete. If you have any unclear parts during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.